Hey guys, what's up? RossDunneIE. Um, so today was definitely a crazy day. Um, I don't really know. Like it's always kind of hard to put these sorts of things into meaningful words when you try and do so. You can hurt people and offend people and so on. But I guess my sympathy goes out to France and the French people. France, obviously, we're talking about the events which occurred last night in France, which leaves roughly 150 people dead and nearly 200 wounded. I actually watched it live as it occurred. And as per usual, it started, and this is going to sound a little bit callous, as one of those sort of violent spectacles that pop up every few months in the Western world or around the globe that we're initially we're almost desensitized to this right now. We're almost at the point where, shit goes down and we go, oh, shit's going down. People are going to die. Let's pay attention to that. But as time went by, it became less about, the spectacle of it and the reality that the horror of the situation was really unfolding as we were watching it. I remember I was reading Twitter, I think it was, and it just popped up like almost as it was being reported. I tuned in right away to BBC News live and watched the live feed for pretty much the whole night. I was awake until about 4 a.m., which wasn't great because I had to be up really early this morning. So I'm running on about 4 hours of sleep today, but I'm okay. I'll make it up tonight. But yeah, it was terrible. And the thing about it is I kind of wanted to jump on cam and give some input on it as it was happening and make a video there and then, but I kind of had a few beers and didn't want to be like overly passionate or prejudgmental about the situation, because last night, like the rest of the world, or like at least the people who were watching it, I was angry, and I was pointing fingers. Obviously the fingers that I was pointing at were correct, obviously that, but I was definitely not in a good way as I watched it. And of course, as the evening went on, the true horror of it unfolded. And as I woke up this morning, it was pretty much the dominant topic of the day. Didn't take very long for ISIS or ISIL, for now we'll just call them IS, to peep up and claim responsibility for it. One of the attackers had a Syrian passport on him and was registered as being one of the migrants who had come across earlier in the year, traveled through Germany into France, I assume through Germany into France. So where do you go from here? Like, how are you supposed to... The first thing that I witnessed people doing was robbing the French people of their anger. That was profoundly annoying. It didn't take long for people to jump right onto Twitter or right onto the forums that I visit, various social media platforms, and go, let's not forget that Christians have done X, Y, and Z, and the West has done X, Y, and Z. And you could understand people making that point in historical retrospect somewhere down the line. And, unfortunately, history will pen this down as an act of religious violence perpetrated by one group or another. But if your immediate reaction is to get your ass to social media and instantly try and remove victimhood from people, from actual victims, and remind them that, other people suffer too, that's so horrible. it's really, really not a good way of presenting yourself or your argument. You just look like a piece of shit, and a lot of people did that yesterday. A lot of people immediately woke up and started going, okay, well, I have to defend the other people in this instance. And again, right away, I saw people immediately sympathizing with, because let's just call a spade a spade. These attackers were Islamic fundamentalists, and right away it wasn't an issue of sympathy towards the French. It was an immediate issue of sympathy towards Muslims. It was a pre-apology for people of the Muslim faith who are most likely now going to face some unpleasantness as a result of this. And I'm not even saying that they won't. You know, it's never good, because there was a great thread on Reddit earlier today, which in which it was a serious question asked by a member of the community on the Ask Reddit subforum, which was like, Muslims of Reddit, how do you feel when something like this happens? And what's your immediate reaction? And of course, the first post was pretty good. It was like, well, a lot of us just sort of sit there and go, please don't let it be Muslims, please don't let it be Muslims, please don't let it be Muslims. Oh, fuck, it's Muslims. And, I can understand that. I can understand that frustration with that community, that they are probably going to be targeted, at least in some capacity, in the days following. I don't think that's okay. Obviously, I would distance myself from that. That's disgusting. Violence begets violence, unfortunately, and it's not the right thing to do. But don't immediately take to the internet to defend Islam. Don't do it right away. Don't get me wrong. Don't join in with the hate mob. If that's fine, if you don't want to be that person, just express sympathy towards the people who have been attacked, and don't immediately turn around and go, no, fuck those guys. I need to defend the secondary knock-on effect right away. I need to be there immediately. I saw basically Josh McIntosh doing it right away. Straight away, he got on Twitter. Salon naturally decided that the most immediate concern was the Muslim members of the French community who had not immediately been implicated in violence or had not had violence done upon them. No, they were the people that needed defense right now, not the people who are actually being attacked. So, as we continue throughout the day today, there are more reports of an explosion in the Lebanon conducted by ISIS. 40 people are thought to be dead. That's breaking as I make this video, so that information could be changed. And a school in Nigeria attacked by, I think it's Al-Shabaab. And they're specific, I think it's about 150 people dead, 150 students in a university. And they're actually exclusively targeting Christians in that attack right now. And that group is linked to ISIS as well. So, it's really hard to pick up all these pieces, pick up all this information, and not put it together and think, where's this coming from? Which presently, and Sam Harris has argued this point before, and I think I'm gonna reiterate it, but I'm probably not gonna do a great job of it. Many faiths, including Christianity, and to some degree Judaism, even Buddhism, many faiths enact violence in their name, and have done, and continue to do so. But presently, as it relates to living people on this planet right now, Islamic fundamentalism represents arguably one of the largest threats to Western society. Saying that does not mean that you need to immediately run into the room and start screaming about how Christians have done evil as well. They have. We know. It's in our history books, and much of Western history is soaked in the blood of Christian imperialism. But right now, it's not Christians. Just please take that in. Like, if you can take away any fucking lesson right now, just at least admit, acknowledge, and be truthful to yourself about the fact that presently it's not Christians. You don't need to run in and defend. Well, I mean, defend is probably not, but you don't need to run in and immediately convict everyone else around you as well. Like, I'm definitely along the lines of, of course, there are many, many moderate Muslims. Most people just want to get along with their fucking lives. You do, I do, we all do. But presently, one of the greatest threats to Western society is Islamic fundamentalism. Just say it. Just say it. Like, when you really sort of sound similar, because I'm going to take a wild gander. When you immediately start running in after an event like this and start defending the poor, defenseless faith of Islam, which is arguably the biggest faith on the planet right now, you really do sound like somebody doing the whole all lives matter thing. You totally do. You sound like somebody going, oh, well, not all cops are murderers. You really do. Like, I'm sorry if it's unpleasant to your liberal ideology or to your progressive ideology, but you do. When you start immediately defending these people, you super duper sound like one of those all lives matter guys. You do. And maybe I'm not being very articulate, but that's really how I sort of feel about it. So, not only that, but Trump was also jabbering today. And we're moving on now from the French situation, which was a disgusting, horrific act. But I also caught the Trump speech today. I had never watched a Trump rally. I'd never watched Donald Trump extended from point A to point B. Most of what I've ever gotten about Donald Trump has been sound bites. So you could maybe forgive me for thinking that Trump basically talks in sound bites, and that's my only experience of him. Now that I've actually sat and watched him, I have never watched a human being stand for so long and say absolutely fucking nothing. The dude said nothing. Like, I mean, don't get me wrong. The man said nothing. He spent about 2 hours telling political anecdotes, as every presidential candidate does. Meaningless, pandering political anecdotes. Pissed and whinged incessantly about illegal immigration, which is not even really an issue in the States. Certainly compared to the contrast with Europe's immigration issues right now, I have a very hard time taking American immigration complaints seriously. I really do. And before you jump down my throat about it, consider this. The majority of immigrants to the United States of America who enter the country illegally speak a European language and have Christian values. They just happen to be brown. That's really the only complaint about these people you have. That's it. You could make some argument that the ongoing immigration issue in Europe is more challenging than the immigration issue in the US. It's not pleasant to say it, and I'm going to catch flack for it, but Islamic culture and the culture that people from Syria and the migrants and the refugees are coming from is significantly less compatible with the general worldview of Western Europeans. That's not nice. I know it might even be hurtful for you to hear it, and it might make you a bit pissed off at me. I'm not trying to be antagonistic when I say this. I'm not trying to diminish or belittle people of the Islamic faith and people from the region. I'm just saying that the reality of the situation is that as peoples, Europeans and Middle Eastern Muslims have a very hard time coexisting. And it doesn't really have a lot to do with the color of their skin. It really has a lot to do with cultural communication that extends beyond things like simple language. So, coming full circle back to Trump, again, I have not seen a political candidate talk such nothing for an extended period of time. It was fascinating. I actually really began to kind of appreciate why people like Trump, and why people sort of are attracted to him, because he's letting people insert their own ideas about what they want him to be. He's letting them shape themselves. I mean, he's talking on he's taking hard points on very few issues. He's taking hard points on hedge funds. He's taking hard points on illegal immigration. And this evening he took a hard point on Obamacare, but he took a hard point in a way that you would not really expect an American capitalist to take a hard point on. He basically sort of said, I'm coming for the insurance industry and I'm going to fuck it all up. So that's interesting. But generally speaking, he kind of just goes with it. He talks about himself, about his character, about how he's a great guy. He's a great self-promoter. I mean, it's obnoxious as fuck, and it shouldn't really appeal to anyone. But obviously it does. And to those people it works absolutely magically. But yeah, he was shocking. I've come to appreciate a little bit more about what Trump is about and what he stands for and what he means. He doesn't stand for anything, honestly. But he's speaking to people in a way that is working for him. Ultimately, it doesn't affect me in the first hand. I think Bernie Sanders is a rad candidate. He definitely appeals to more of my shit. But yeah, watching Trump was very interesting. I'll keep an eye on him. But yeah, I think that's about all I have to say for now. Again, my thoughts are with France, and the Lebanon, and the African University. Try to be less dickish about it. You know, it's okay to mourn the French. It's okay to mourn the situation without you needing to come to the defense of other people. Stay vigilant, I suppose, and you know, take it easy. I'm Ross Dunn. Like, comment, subscribe.